chance to look over the minutes from the July 15th meeting? Corrections, additions, if not, is there a motion to approve?
So I move to approve the minutes from the previous.
Way to go, Justin. Moved by Justin. Is that a second?
Yeah.
Second by Kale. All in favor? Your sheriff report? Jen, you don't have any minutes for tonight?
I do, but I'm not gonna get into the sheriff's report. It has to do with
Shay, you're up.
All right, do you need me to stand?
No.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm just, well, I mean, I can, but we're just gonna update you guys on the park stuff. If there's any specific questions, just ask, cause we're like super early stages. Lila kinda reached out and was just questioning where we were at, and we're like super early. So we have met with, Chris at the Cheyenne County Development Office, and on their August 8th meeting, they're going to hopefully board approve us to go under their Together Cheyenne County umbrella for the 501c3, which is what TAP did to get their grants. She thinks that won't be a problem, but they have to board approve it. So their next meeting is August 8th. After that, then we would be good for grant stuff. Hopefully, all of them or most of them funnel through them. We also met with Jennifer, I don't remember her last name. She was from ACCO out of Lenexa, Kansas. She came out here on her own dime, answered an hour's worth of questions for us, and she's currently working on a couple like mock-ups of what we could or could not be doing at the park. So what it would potentially look like. She thinks we are, as far as safety stuff goes, gonna be eligible for a lot of grant money because our sidewalks need to be wider or something for disabilities. ADA compliances. And there's just a lot of different, like grants available right now, I guess, to help make parks accessible to everybody, not just people in wheelchairs, but also vision impaired, deaf, stuff like that. So she thinks because of the radius, where there's no parks around us within X amount of miles, she thinks we'll be eligible for a lot of grant money. So, cause I think the closest one she said will be Colby, and then after that would be Hayes going that direction. So she thinks that we are gonna be eligible for a lot of grants. She also said that she is willing, she took a grant writing course, to help us connect with someone from K-State to review all of our grants before we submit them. Our committee has grown. I'll just read off the people. It's the most random group. It's awesome. That's us two, Aspen Braceland, Brianna Waters, Cindy Sherlock, Haley Keller, Lucinda Straub, Mary Keller, Melinda and Quentin Tedford, Tim and Robin Burr, and Sandy Small. And Mary Keller wants to take a grant writing course. She wants to do it. And so she's gonna help with all the grants. Chris, said that she'll help start and finish them at CCC to make sure that we're hitting all the boxes, I guess. So, there's a lot of unknowns, I guess, because she was saying we could make this a very small project or we could make it huge. Jennifer did. I don't know, it's so early that it's hard to give you a real great update of anything. Obviously, we'll run everything through you guys before we do anything, but we just haven't done anything. So, mostly just like tossing things around, I feel like. So, she did say like our surfacing is 9 inches too low currently. So like even though that one play structure is wheelchair accessible from like the 80s or 90s, she's like you can't like get a wheelchair up there because it's 9 inches too low currently. So, she wasn't bashing that. She just was stating facts. So, just stuff like that, she just pointed out, so, yeah, I don't know. Hit me with some questions.
Sounds good.
It's hard to tell you guys too much, cause we just don't have.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what
Definitive.
came up with.
Yeah, so, and then, yeah, she just was like, she was super positive about us probably getting a lot of grant money because of nobody around us having the ADA.
Maybe during this.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, she said we'd have to put a sidewalk from the pavilion, the Lions Club pavilion, to the bathroom, to make that handicap accessible, cause there's not currently one directly to it. She said if we added on to the park, she thinks we would add it on towards that pavilion. That's what she, based off where the trees currently are and stuff like that, that's where if we were to expand anything, that's where we'd probably have to expand it to. Obviously ways to work around everything. There's a light pole right in the middle of that, so that would be potentially a problem. But she said it wouldn't be anything too crazy. We also tossed around the idea, and she said to ask you guys if some of the equipment, like maybe like those baby swings, maybe if we got new ones at this park, could we relocate that to the roadside park where the tap park? They said they will not move any equipment that's not been installed within 5 years because it's liability on them. If something, like if they were to move that swing set and like a chain busted, it could be on them. So she said ask her city council if they wanted to like repurpose equipment like that, and who that liability would fall under essentially if we did that. Everyone liked the idea, but it doesn't have to happen by any means. So they were just trying to think of ways, like if we added a new swing set, I'm just throwing a swing set out. And the one we have is not horrible, I mean, it still functions. How do you just, like repurpose it, stuff like that, and someone threw up the roadside park.
You want it in your backyard?
People talked about that as well, but then she said, Jennifer, again, it goes back to the liability, cause someone said, well, what if we auctioned off some of this stuff as like a fundraiser? And she said, you probably could, but you need to check with your city again, because if you auction that off, let's say that I purchased it and then it breaks in my backyard, who does that liability fall under? I mean, so, people said that. I don't know why I would not want that in my backyard, but, all those things were talked about,
Right.
so, it's a very wide group of people on this board, so,
Appreciate you digging on it.
yeah. Everybody seems super, like excited about it, and Jessica and Chris both think it's like great for the community as far as development and stuff like that, so, yeah. She did want me to ask you guys while we were here today if you'd be willing to write a letter of support for our grant writing if and when that starts to happen.
See what happens.
That's a thing.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any questions? I have, we need to get a secretary, and I'm not the person, because these are my notes, and they're not good. So, I have a lot of information, but we need somebody a little more official, which, Erica.
I was just gonna say Erica's pretty organized.
What?
Erica's pretty organized. Did you ever find out, you and I had talked about city park, cause we lease it from the county, but it's county ground, I just wonder if we need to figure that out for them to know, cause we have to officially submit the grant. Cause like when it's,
Probably the county, since they own it.
So do you think we should go to one of their meetings, or just talk, like,
I visited with the commissioners,
yeah,
and obviously since they own it, but we lease it, I mean, I guess they'll be the final, we'll have to let them know what the plans are, but then obviously the city will have to okay that, because we're gonna be the ones that have to maintain it. So, I figured until things got more concrete, then probably your committee and the city can go as a joint effort.
okay,
No, it didn't sound like there'd be any issues
okay,
from the county, obviously, they don't,
okay,
they own it, but they don't maintain it, the city does, so.
okay.
Does your committee have a name, so when I write this letter of support, I'm addressing it to?
It's a really great question. So we have, I don't think there is a name for this park.
You just call it the courthouse park.
That's what I call it
Right?
too,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's an official name of the park that we can find from anybody. So our Facebook group is,
We had an old committee called the Friends of the Park that was joined together to kind of do some improvement landscaping. They're the ones that planted the little flowers, on the west side of the bathhouse and then the west side of the Lions Club shelter. That
they're
was
called who?
Friends of the Park, was
Oh,
that
playground
group?
renovation project.
So who's on, like, who is that?
Carla Lampy would be one to ask, cause that was when she was on city council.
Okay.
And I don't do you remember who else was on that Friends of the Park?
Well,
She
it's
was kind
still
of-
on our,
It's still on our project's pending, that's why
so
I'm like,
I
oh, we
thought
still have to
maybe
have it.
there were still some people on
don't-
it.
Are you, and, last I knew Carla Lampy so you might check with her and see, who all was on that committee.
Okay.
Cause they kind of joined, kinda like this, but it was a lot smaller scale, and just trying to beautify it with some
Yeah.
greenery, flowers, that kind of stuff.
Well, our Facebook is Playground Renovation Project St. Francis.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the right to name it, so I don't know if that's like who names it or.
But your group, because I'll be writing
Okay,
a
yeah.
support for your group
Yep.
to pursue
Does
grants.
that sound
Yep.
okay?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll check with Carla.
Okay. Yeah.
Build.
Nope.
Yeah. So, another thing, like, just, this is gonna be like way down the road, but we've been talking a lot about like the surfacing. There's a lot of grant money available for, it's like repurposed tire, and they make it into like this spongy, like, unit. And there's like a 50% or
50/50 grant.
50/50 grant for that, and a lot of small rural communities get it. But I've been doing a lot of research, I'm not really sure if that's the way to go, because Shylin put one in on their grade school, and apparently it's really hot and it's caused a lot of problems. They keep having to replace chunks of it, and we live in the middle of the corner, you know, so people aren't getting out here very fast. And then there was also talk about like a turf, so I guess if like weeds come up on this turf, you spray it, you put a sign up, I guess it says no one play on it for, it's like 24 hours, then you just wash the turf off, if weeds come through a barrier. So those are, I think, questions for probably you guys maybe down the road a little bit, here, just be thinking about it. If the surfacing,
It'll get pretty hot too.
I know. So I went to Hoxie's playground, because ATCO did Hoxie's school playground, I just went last weekend. They have a section that's turf and a section that is this repurposed tire. And you can do a different blend of the tire that puts in different colors, and theirs was like straight black with a tiny bit of gray, but it was hot. And the turf was not radiating near as much heat as that, tire stuff was, but I don't know. They had some weeds up on the edge though. But I think their park has all been there for, quite a few years. But I noticed that, like, I was walking around on that, it's great, that tire stuff is awesome, it feels great. But I noticed a bunch of just little spots that were starting to like wear and tear, and I think she said that like you could just cut that out and put it, or like that was the
I think
turf.
that's the turf.
The turf.
I think that's the turf, that you can just cut out and then.
Replace it back in. I don't wanna make like it be a big deal of like safety, you know, I don't know, but anyways, it's just
The
something.
turf, if it's anything like the pools, it's hot.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just keep on doing some more research. Don't really know if the pebbling stuff is the best either, there's a lot, at least my kid eats it.
There's a lot of rocks that are
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, and then I had to yell at my other kid for throwing rocks into the grass, and I was like, don't do that, somebody's mowing this, and I tried to scoop them all back in, but I don't know if there is a ideal route, but if any of you guys have ideas. You're the great, you were a groundskeeper, you probably know better than anybody. I don't know. So, that's one of those big things that I don't think that, I don't know, you guys would have to have a huge say on that, obviously,
That's
cause.
when I just don't have the email. Does she know that?
But, anyways,
Well, thanks for the update.
yeah. Call anytime you need another update, I just don't know like how fast things will go or how slow they're gonna go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you planning like fundraisers for, because most grants have matching funds. Is that what you're planning, like?
Yes,
That kind of
so
thing.
she's already got another, so I think where some confusion came from is, they wanna do a small part of this park as like a musical thing.
Mm.
That's part of like the new innovation, like with the Art Park in Hayes, they have these like musical instrument things. And so they wanna dedicate that to Jeannie Ann Comfer, they got, Steve's blessing to dedicate some of that, so some old teachers, retired teachers, work the thrift store, to dedicate to that portion of the project.
Yeah, okay.
So they have done that, and then Erica just signed us up to work the thrift store again in December?
November 1st.
November?
Yep.
Yeah, and they're talking about a bunch of different other fundraisers, but nothing has been,
Yeah, we haven't like said anything and stuff yet.
We don't even have a bank account yet, so.
Yeah, that's what we're.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. We're waiting to get,
Approval from CCD.
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, before we do anything more. So, and we're always open to ideas, so if you have any, yeah.
Any other questions?
Keep doing.
All right,
Ladies?
we'll keep on keeping on.
Alrighty.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roadside park kiosk painting bids. Do I just have the one copy?
Yes, and we only received one bid,
Only one bid.
yes.
One bid,
And are you gonna share the comment, the citizen comment that we had regarding that? Or do you want me to?
you can if you want to, so I don't mess it up, cause I'll probably forget half of it.
I received a call. Someone concerned, just they had read the article about the painting and just concerned that money was being spent on something that had previously been done by volunteer work when there is work inside that the bathroom area up there that is desperately needed for like toilets improvements and that kind of thing. And then the actual display that has the brochures in it is not in the best of shape. So they were just expressing their opinion that the money would be better used in another way besides painting. But that was, yeah. So I just wanted to, I said I would share that, so I did.
Who's saying that?
She asked not to have her name, but someone who's familiar with the facility.
But it needs painting, apparently.
I guess, I don't know, I'm not a,
Have you been up there?
I mean, it's needed paper, I think, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
How long ago was that it was painted?
oh gosh, I wanna say 18 or 19. It was when,
Helen was there.
mhm,
Helen Dobbs.
yes.
Yeah. Did she most of her time to
Yes,
paint it?
yes, she did.
So the one bid that we did receive was $1,535.09. That is just labor, it's not any materials.
Correct. Well, not
Not,
labor and all of their equipment, it doesn't include the paint.
yeah.
Yeah. And just so you all know, we talked about the guest tax fund being used for improvements, and currently you have $8,379.47 in the guest tax fund.
Who's the-
Which, did we get that advertised very well?
I mean, we put it on Facebook, we put it in the paper. The hope was that we would reach, local, contractors.
Mm-hmm.
One time we had talked about trying to get grant funding to redo some of the internal stuff up there. Yeah, you're right, because it's a little.
Yeah, it needs some,
It's the bank plus fix the door frames.
They had made a comment in there
there's
that
one
that,
about a rusted door.
and they had commented that this quote would include those repairs, whatever they said in that quote. There was some rust or something.
Something about the rust, yeah.
Yes.
You just might have internet now.
We might.
Yeah. I think our phone call was messed up.
Put the stuff in the kiosk, anybody put stuff in there, or you don't?
Yeah, there's brochures up there.
Right. There's no lock on it, you just.
No.
what you want.
Well,
Like the brochures.
I see.
it's, yeah, like what we have out here, but at a larger scale. And then, Chris puts the brochures up there, the travel brochures.
But you're talking the glass thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a
Oh.
whole different.
And I think Chris has access to that too, all of
Doesn't
that.
it take quite a bit to get that
Yes,
I think it takes
so I'm just talking about them.
that last one to change.
And I don't know, there may be, when we're talking about community facilities like that, we've exhausted CDBG funds for streets, but there used to be, anyway, a category for community facilities. That was the one that we went for many years ago to do the bathrooms up at the,
Backside.
yeah, and that got turned down because we had streets, we had paving included with that, and they wouldn't approve that portion of it. So the application was rejected at that time. But it might be something to think about pursuing. I could talk to Northwest Kansas Planning and Development about all that up there under the community facilities type.
Do we need to have somebody look at it and see what actually needs?
We would, if they think it would even qualify
Yeah.
for a grant, then we could pursue that, but
I think
it might be
it's
worth the
like an answer.
question.
I know I've talked with Abby with Dr. Marshall's office about assistance from their office as far as federal grant funding, so I can reach out to her again and see
Okay.
what they know is available. Is that
Because like they were talking about with the ADA stuff, that would be pretty important.
It would be nice to get those bathhouses, the restroom down
Mhm.
below in the bathhouse up there, get it done.
I can check into that.
Okay, is everybody okay with holding off and seeing if there's,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh, we'll hold off on the,
painting and, yeah, I think instead of spending that kind of money, if we could possibly get a bigger overhaul one, which was like, building permits,
yes.
So the one just concrete.
what's that much? I don't know, they look like they should we approve it?
That's the large.
Yeah. Hi Tracy.
Hi, how are you?
Our permit's the only one we need to approve.
Okay. Any questions on the building permit?
I'm gonna approve the building permits.
Moved by
Second.
Larry, second by Cale, all in favor?
So you're good, you're good to
Is
go.
that me?
Yep.
Yeah. So all you gotta, but if you decide to build your fence, you'll have to do a permit before you do your fence. So this
Okay.
is just for the building.
Okay, and then that needs a, I think I, in my trying to be proactive, I think I did everything too soon. Trying to come here to get approved, and then I saw the building permit and saw that fine print on there that had to be approved. So I think I should just done it all at once. So, that needs a committee approval then too.
The fence will, yeah.
The fence, okay,
Yep.
alright, cool. Is that, what about for trees?
You cut them down or?
No, I mean for, like adding landscaping and stuff.
Landscape, you don't have to.
No, okay. Alright.
Alrighty.
So should I just stop by tomorrow to get a copy of the signed?
It actually, I'll just show you what it's gonna look like.
Okay.
It's not actually, it'll be official in the minutes, but as far as your building permit is, we just mark it there and I will date that. And so yes, you can get a copy tomorrow.
Okay, awesome, alright, thanks so much.
Hurry up, have a good
See ya.
evening.
Alright,
Bye-bye. Special event application van shell rental contract for the St. Francis Community Church. Christian, this is not, is this something new, or is this something that they've done in the past?
I think, I don't know.
I said I've rented it before, but I didn't know concept of it.
It's just, I think it's just like a solo artist, and I can't remember who David said the name was. They are asking for the rental fee to be waived, for the van shell.
Move the rental on the,
With
second.
Moved by by Justin, second by Kale, all in favor?
Okay, is that for these band shell rental?
Anyway,
And then we need a motion to approve we have the special event application and then the band shell.
They're two separate things.
So, you made a motion to
I'll
accept?
move
Okay.
making my move to approve the band cell rental contract.
And the special event application, and
Sure.
the waive
Both of them.
all three. Two applications and a waive.
Oh, gotcha. Justin and Kale?
Yes, Justin, motion, Kale seconded, all in favor? All right,
Thank you.
yes. Old business solar panels. And,
So there's a 90-some page thing that y'all got, I will look over and see. So right now, we're kinda working with KMEA to see what, if we can adopt something that they've already wrote, or whatever, but I'm gonna talk to them more tomorrow, and then next meeting, they'll come in and talk to us. Basically, what he said is we should have had policies in place before now, and, cause like Goodland and Prairieland, and he said most of the places that, the way they're writing the rules is you can't overbuild your system. You only build it for 90% of your load. In which case you don't hardly ever push out on the system.
So that's where the batteries come in?
Yeah, probably, I guess. But they won't even let you build it over 90% load. They'll size it and tell you what you can put in.
But the problem with that is that on an annual basis or a monthly basis? Because solar panels have more power in the summer and less in the winter. So I don't think mine's gonna exceed 90% over the year, but it will in some months.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole question here, is this annual or monthly? And I agree that a policy needs to be, you know.
Oh, yeah,
right.
and we're gonna have to put a policy in place.
I mean, years ago, JR told me this is how it's gonna work, but there was no written policy as far as I know, so I absolutely do think a written policy would be beneficial. Can I get a 60-second sales pitch? Go ahead.
I don't know if they're gonna, if it's annual or monthly or.
But that's a crucial question.
Right.
I mean, can I give you a 60-second sales pitch for? So, you know, I don't know what KMEA is gonna say, but the thing to remember, I think, is that locally produced solar has less, you know, loss, less transmission loss because it's from there. It doesn't generate any carbon, and it's being produced by people who are taxpayers and community volunteers. So the power companies are always like, yeah, we don't like these guys because they're competing with us, but to me, if you guys would all put solar panels on your roof, it'd be better for the city, not worse, because it's local power. End of sales pitch.
So, sounds like next meeting, right?
So,
Probably next,
next meeting, they'll probably, he said he wouldn't be able to come out, but he'd call in the way he talked. I'm gonna get with him tomorrow, and he's gonna talk to Jen and I about how some of the billings and stuff works and stuff like that, so. Kind of get figured out, cause you can do parallel gen, or you can do net meter.
Do we have to do one or the other, basically?
I believe so, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't had time to read the 90-some pages and paperwork.
It's your homework.
And you said there
Was
are
that
other
emailed to
cities
us?
that
It was in with the,
Goodland has 6
Goodland?
setups right now,
Okay.
It's on the show.
and Prairieland has some set up,
It's,
so,
I'm looking.
and I don't know how all this working, whether you can be, it can be where you're, like, charge him for what he pulls off of our grid, a different price than what you return to him that he pushes down. There's figures like that in there.
Right, that's one way to do it.
There's several ways it sounds like, we just gotta sit down and figure it out, so.
read a little bit on the parallel processing, and it sounds complicated. I'm not sure it fits this case. I mean, I think it's, I would think net metering, but I don't know. It is confusing.
So I guess that being said, for anybody that's listening to this meeting, we're probably on hold with that stuff until we get policy in place.
But how long do you think that'll take? Because we're coming, my problem here is if you guys don't go retail net metering for the year, then I might have to buy batteries, and this new tax law expires on December 31st. So,
But we'll talk to them in the next meeting, so.
okay.
We should, yeah.
The KMEA guys will call in here the next meeting.
Is that August 11th?
Yes.
Okay.
Get a copy of their policies, cause then,
Who's Goodland? No, I didn't. But I can, I probably can. I mean, I just talked to them. They've already got policies in place, so they're the same, what, they only allow to bill 90%. I don't know how they refund them or any of that stuff.
The other thing on the 90%, and I agree, a lot of places do that. Again, is it annual or monthly? But the way most places work is on March 31st, if the solar producer has any excess, you just give it to the utility, which I think is fair. So even if you exceed the 90%, all that means is you get a free bonus on March 31st, but that assumes an annual basis, right? Every year you just zero it. If the producer has a net positive, they give up the kilowatt hours to the city or the grid, and that is an incentive not to build it too big because you don't get paid for it, even if you do.
We'll know more next meeting, sorry,
Alright.
sorry, you
Thank you, guys.
made the trip in, but,
Yeah, that's fine. No, I just wanted to find out what's going on. So.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
If anybody, that, I did email that 95-page document out, but if anybody wants a hard copy of it, just let me know and I'll print it. It just seemed like a lot of paper, but if you want it, I will certainly print it for you, just let me know.
Anything else on that thing?
What's that?
Anything else?
No.
Budget cleanup?
I did not have time to get pictures of any of the places you guys wanted, but I know about them.
Where are we at on the 616 South Dennison? Did we get them additional time granted?
I think so.
Did we get
I don't
letters?
remember at them for sure.
Was that the one that, at the last meeting?
No, we gave them additional time.
Yeah, so one was issued a citation.
Which is coming up for court on the 13th of August.
Might need to continue that.
Okay.
And then the other was sent a second notice, which means they would have had another, I guess, 15 days from that second notice to
20 days.
20 days.
so yes,
And that was just last meeting?
yeah,
There
so,
has been some stuff done,
Slowly.
yeah.
It seems like it's maybe stalled, but I don't know.
I guess maybe I need to get with you and see exactly what we want cleaned up, because, I mean, they're cleaning up, but
Yeah.
if you want it completely cleaned up, we need to go and go and completely clean it up, but
Were these the ones behind the liquor store?
No,
'Cause I would think we got.
that one is being added again. What's the address on that one? 704? 703 South Francis.
Is that,
Coates.
yeah,
property.
the owner's indisposed, correct?
Is the owner?
I heard the opposite.
Did Cody ever have a contact? Wasn't he looking for a contact?
I'm sorry, did you said the owner,
I've already been released.
Feel like that's accurate because of a conversation I had last week.
Okay.
I just don't know if I can talk about that openly.
Sure.
I don't know that individual, I guess I haven't heard anything on that, and from my understanding was that at least initially, that was not going to be the case for a very long time.
Right.
some activity over there.
I would
Yeah.
think
So-
there's,
Can I talk about, properties in open meeting as far as if they have utilities, don't have utilities? I don't know what's, I mean, I certainly don't wanna violate anybody's rights by talking about something in open meeting. But I do have information on the property, I just don't know.
We might not want, due to the nature of it, we might not want to. If we wanna go into, to discuss it in executive session, we could do it, cause it is potential litigation. It is prospective pending litigation. So we can go into executive session to discuss, subject to attorney-client privilege, if you want to do that now. Or if you don't wanna do it, I mean, I guess, I don't know.
We can do it at the end of the meeting, can't we? So, yeah, we just do it at the end of the meeting. Okay, so, and you and I can get together and on the one, and then we can get pictures of the ones we discussed at the last meeting.
I'll try to,
Because it
yeah.
might be the other one. Project spending.
Dan, were you going to, I think it was Shay that came in and asked about the crosswalks. She had just asked about having crosswalks, a crosswalk at the daycare over to the park, and I feel like that's been discussed before. And then up by the grade school on the 3 streets that there used to be, I think, crosswalks at least at one of those, where the new road was put in. And she was just asking if that had been considered to put them back in those
There
locations.
should be one on each side of the school,
should be.
and then obviously the one out here, since the pool's been out here.
Um,
That would be adding one there, and I thought we discussed that and okayed it.
We did what?
Didn't we?
I'm sorry.
Crosswalk over here for the,
We talked about getting signs over there, but we hadn't got that done yet. We never
Okay.
did,
discussed.
never did discuss painting a crosswalk. I mean, they discussed it one and then they decided not to. They or us or whoever had to make the decision. So then we talked about signs, and then I haven't got signed yet, but. And the school just simply got away from us last year, we didn't get it done, so we'll try to get it done this year.
Right down the front.
The school's painting. Parking lines.
I heard one.
What's that?
The school's painting parking lines.
No.
Streets, they're doing it now.
In that park.
It's in the
The
parking lot.
parking,
Okay,
in front of the school, high school.
gotcha.
So Dan, what did you say about this one over here? I missed that, I'm sorry.
I was supposed to get signs and I haven't got them yet, just for like slow children playing or whatever. I need to get them.
So no crosswalk there, though. If she asks,
We never, I know we discussed it, but I think we said not to at the time, and then,
Cause I thought they didn't, they wanted one and then they didn't, and then didn't. I don't remember what the last,
who's they?
the.
The actual daycare.
Mhm.
She's not associated with that, is she, or is she?
I
No,
don't
so
think-
she's just a
Well, I
concerned
don't know,
citizen.
she might be on that.
Yes, she is,
Is
on
she?
that board?
for sure she is.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's, he can get signs and we'll do some checking at the NC on where we're at with the crosswalk. Empire Motel property, do you wanna, Lauren?
I have a, do you want me to just read the ad? Okay. Give me 1 second to pull it up here. I have this is what I typed up to get to Lila to put on the web, or Jen or Wyatt or whoever's gonna be putting it on the website. The city of St. Francis, the city is accepting offers for the property commonly known as 115 East Business US Highway 36, St. Francis, Kansas 67756. The property. The city will consider offers which contain plans and an estimated timeline of completion for a commercial business which will occupy the property. The property will be sold as is, and any costs associated with establishing said commercial business shall be the responsibility of the buyer. The city requests that any interested buyer submit a sealed offer to City Hall no later than 5 p.m. on Friday, November 7th, 2025. The city will consider all offers submitted to City Hall at the regular meeting of the City Council on November 10th, 2025. In the event the city does not receive a satisfactory offer, the city reserves the right to reject all offers and retain the property.
Everybody okay with that?
It will be scheduled to run next Thursday, which is the 7th, and all offers are due by November 7th, so that is the 3-month span that was discussed.
So we're gonna put it in the Herald and then on the website, or
Yes,
just?
my understanding was it was gonna run for 2 weeks for the Herald, and then the city would evaluate whether they wanted to run it again or run it closer to the deadline or whatever that is.
Is everybody okay with
But
Do we want it on our Facebook page as well?
that? Yes. Do we wanna put a for sale sign with our phone number up there? Cause I believe CCDC cares that, so, you do that.
Okay.
Have one of the guys get a sign and put it up. Everybody okay with all that? Okay. Anything else on project spending?
I haven't heard anything on the grants yet for the theater renovation, but, or the marquee sign, so.
Also working on it, there is water lines, water on both sides though. Hydrant on both sides. But we probably shouldn't do anything until, let's say probably late spring or late fall. Definitely need to think about tearing some of all this stuff out. But I should have some designs done.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
For the planters out front.
Well, no planners,
For what?
no planners.
No planters?
Yeah.
Well, the areas out front. Whatever you
But
want to call
there's
it.
a way to get water there on both sides.
Streets.
And patch them when we can,
Are we running the street sweeper pretty good too?
not very good. I'm working on that.
It's not broke, is it?
Huh?
It's not broke, is it?
Not yet. Next week.
Did you guys get together and decide on Grove Street?
Did you get my text?
Please keep on patching, that's other people say things too. I've told people that we're trying, we have been out and doing some things around town, shorthanded.
We patched some things on Main Street too.
Yeah.
Oh, no visitors. Sure you didn't have anything for visitors, did you? Okay. Full report.
We had a pool board meeting last, Tuesday. And it looks like the last full day of swim at the pool will be the 9th of August. They're gonna continue to do laps and aquasize till the 29th. It sounds like there's gonna be a fifth grade class that's gonna go down, and possibly a high school PE class. Laps and aquasize has been very well attended this year. Swim lessons they had over, she thinks they had over 200 kids this year. It's just crazy.
Some potential lifeguards.
Yep.
I hope so. And I think that's about all I have.
No meetings in August. I just want,
You know, I need to ask that, that's a good question.
I just wanna be prepared for
Well,
how
yeah,
I'm
that's a
coming
good
up with
question.
things.
I never even thought about that.
What did you ask, Jen?
Weekends
Oh,
in
weekends.
August.
I'll just text her and ask her.
Larry, were you going to bring up the question that I had asked? Or no?
Yeah, I can. It's been brought to our attention that, there could be an issue with pool employees being in the pool after hours. with permission from the manager, and I guess from my standpoint, we're gonna pass this, or run this past Lauren too. We've never had an issue with it because it's always been allowed as long as there's at least 2 people there and it's lifeguards. But we wanted to at least bounce it off of you and get your input on it.
I was the visitor at the meeting, and I expressed concerns for the liability to the city of having unsupervised teenagers at the pool after hours. It just seemed like a liability to me.
There's no lifeguard. It is the lifeguards that are in there. There's not a lifeguard on duty.
Correct.
Right.
They're just using the pool.
There's always a minimum of 2.
So now you need 3, a DD.
A what?
Designated lifeguard.
I don't know, I, like I said, it's been that way for 40 years. But it's been asked that we ask the council their opinions and see what Lauren thought of it too.
I think it's an incentive.
That's the way it's always been treated.
Mhm.
It's a perk.
My opinion on just about everything is it's a liability. There's no lifeguard on duty if they're using the pool and one of them hits their head on something, if they go off the diving board, if they go down the slide and they hit wrong, something happens. If there's 2 people there, both of whom are minors, both of whom are in the pool, not with nobody actually lifeguarding. I mean, there's a reason that the pool has lifeguards on duty when there's people in the water. My opinion is it's an unnecessary liability. There's just not someone
Yeah.
available.
2 of them there, and they're both going down the slide, and the first one doesn't get out of the way, and the second one hits them. You have no one there. You don't have a lifeguard
Right.
monitoring if something would happen.
But they are both lifeguards.
But if one knocks into the other one and they're both injured or
I mean.
I will say the majority of, in fact, I'm not aware of any pools that actually allow that except for ours. I haven't talked to everybody, but I have manuals from several communities, and that's one of the rules, that there's no after-hours use of the pool by anyone. But I'm just saying what I've found out.
That's why I was asked to bring it to the
Yes.
council and
Yes,
get everybody's opinion.
right.
Pool board standpoint, we don't have a problem with it. But we needed to run it past everybody here.
I don't have a problem with either, if we're training these people to be
Manager's
lifeguards.
not there.
Manager's not there,
No.
just high school, like, could be just 2 high school.
Most of the time.
Mm.
So what is the youngest of lifeguards now?
16.
You can drive, but you can't swim?
That's to me, it's a huge liability for the city if something would happen.
I would also like to point out that unless you're going very fast, imminent death in a car is not likely. Whereas if you're underwater for 2 minutes, you can drown. Or less. I mean, however long it takes you to hold your breath and suck in water and then drown. It's not like you're going to immediately die driving your car, but you could immediately die swimming if you get injured.
Or 2 people texting in the car hit somebody. I mean, there's always ifs and liabilities and everything, so.
Like I said, we'll defer to whatever the council feels is the best option, and my only comment is that, like I said, it's been done that way for 40 years.
Doesn't make it right if it's
Mhm.
always been done that way and it's not.
Okay.
Insurance, what would insurance say about?
So I can reach out to, I did not, I apologize. I meant to reach out to Kelly and get his opinion, and I did not get that done. So I can do that if you'd like,
Would be another-
see what his input is.
I can check with Kelly too, if you want me to.
Yeah.
Is there something in the policy on this?
They don't actually have, they're working on policies, but there aren't actually any policies for the pool, as far as we could tell. I don't have a copy of any policies.
Generalizations.
Yeah.
So this is just
Um,
under a general liability policy.
Oh, for the, oh, I thought you meant for pool.
Like
Rules
policies
and
and procedures
policies.
for the pool. There's not really any set.
Kelly said she was gonna work on that over the winter and try to get something
Well, I think
together.
we're late enough season-wise now that if we're looking at putting a policy into place, these are good you know, get a policy into place over winter and we can address this issue, but I would be curious to see insurance-wise.
I will look,
That is
yes.
my concern. My concern is that if there's something in our insurance policy, I guess I didn't realize we were talking, again, my mind immediately goes to liability, but in the event that there is something in there that if the pool is being utilized, there must always be a lifeguard on duty, and there is not a lifeguard on duty, and something happens, we have just violated our insurance and they are not going to cover it. And that's an issue.
Well, years ago, they, I don't know if they still do, but like in some pools, the lifeguards get out, the adults who are over 18 used to go swim without any lifeguards. Is that still, I know someplace still
I
do
was just
that.
at the pool a couple weeks ago and at break time, the adults stayed in, but there was a lifeguard standing outside. So they were still watching it.
You're talking about during break times.
Yeah.
Something to consider too, if Kelly's gonna work on that over the winter, you guys might wanna discuss retaining her as the manager, because really, she should be on the clock if she's doing this, and this has come up every year. Every year, you know, it's considered seasonal, but then Kelly starts doing work early in the season because it has to be done early in the season, sometimes even before hiring. And now might be the time to address that as well, especially if she's willing as a manager to work on that over the winter,
Mm-hmm.
maybe retaining the manager. Just a thought.
If she works on it to the end of the year, if we maintain her,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
through December, if she works on it.
And
If it
then-
has, then, yeah.
Yeah, cause then usually by February, you know, you guys are starting to advertise. This is just something that we've talked about in the office, cause we've run into some issues, nothing bad, just
It's a good
trying to
idea.
get things
Yeah.
done. And it is a I mean, I don't know, I don't, just was thinking about that, because it's one thing to be willing to do that, but she should probably be compensated.
Yes, and we know that she puts in time
She
before she's
volunteers all
actually
over
on the
Yeah.
clock. Yeah, and so,
Just a thought for you guys if she does that.
Yeah.
mhm. She was going to, I think she talked about it at the meeting, she was gonna put together
Yeah,
some kind of a manual for the pool with all of the rules and things that they have, for the board to then look at and approve and then bring to the council, but that's gonna take her some time. And then depending on what is found out and what you guys decide with this particular topic, she can include that in there, but let me check
most of
with.
the stuff we have right now is just general, I don't wanna say common sense, but
But having an actual written policy isn't, I mean,
If the
we should
lifeguards
have
were
it.
over 18, would we be talking about this
Yes,
Yes.
still?
I think so.
What's
Yeah,
the age
because-
limit for a parent or a spouse to sue for wrongful death?
it's anybody in the pool after hours.
Right.
And
Theater employees don't get to go down and utilize the theater after hours.
Sure they do.
no,
They get to go out down there when they're cleaning up, that's after hours. And they get to go in there and change, make sure the reel's going,
they're being paid, they're on the clock.
then pay them. I'm just saying, this is incentive, we take away all these things that
Liability of the
people
pool
wanna
as
do
compared
this.
to the
We want
theater.
them, we trust them, we want them to do this, but when we just take this stuff away, cause everything's a liability. Well, everything is a liability. Cause we make it that way. And there are signs that say, you know, you are responsible for your own stuff on the pool, so there you go.
Yeah, an injury attorney's not gonna.
Yeah. It's a liability for the city and then, you know.
Everything's a liability, even when there's something happened to it. You could do CPR as a liability. I mean, that's what it is. If we're worried about suing, maybe we shouldn't have a pool.
Yeah.
That's a lady enough to see.
You gonna check with Kelly, or you want me to?
I've got the policies in the office and it's,
Okay, if you need me to do
Yeah.
something, let me know.
I will, thank you.
Superintendent report?
Well, speaking of the pool, the painter came in today and looked at it, and he'll get you the quotes by next meeting. So,
Gut feeling on how he thought it looked?
he said it needs to be sandblasted.
It does?
Yeah.
Marley, do you wanna talk about what we talked about on the pool painting and possibly go from that?
Previously in the past, it was paid for out of capital improvement, and it probably can be, but I need to reach out to the auditors and make sure that we still can. And even if they say that it should be out of the general fund, it may require an amendment of the budget to do so, but it can be done. However, the auditors tell us it needs to be paid for. Since it's a maintenance of the pool rather than an improvement to the pool, it may not be considered a capital improvement expense. But I'll find out. And so if they say that it's not, then what that means to you guys is just amending the budget so that you have the budget authority to do it and get it done out of the general fund. But we can do that.
And if we can do it this year, we can do a little bit of the transfer early to move cash into the general fund, as long as we amend the budget to have the budget authority. So just letting you guys know that, cause we had initially talked about, we thought it was in the transfers, and then by then I got to talk about capital improvement.
So you don't think we had like 50,000 set aside?
Yes.
Yes, but we don't know that it can be used for a maintenance expense, the capital improvement fund.
Oh.
So we're gonna find out, but it's not like this can't be done, it's just a matter of how it'll be paid for and how we can make that happen. So just giving you a heads up that it may require a budget amendment. That's, it's absolutely doable. It's not, we did one back in 2015, you may recall, to move the theater, cause they used to be their own fund. And so it's not complicated, it just requires a hearing, just like a regular budget hearing, but it's amending the budget, so we can get it done. But I'm gonna check with the auditors first, and we may not have to do that, so, just so you guys know.
Tab Park gave me the bill for the water hydrants this morning, it was $340. There's a card about the roadside parks, it's a nice card, it's not bad.
Can I interrupt just a second? When I said that they had $500 budgeted, we'd already spent about $150 on signs. So with this, they've used the $500 that you had budgeted for this year, so.
So, on this first page is that I sent around, that's just the recycling, the page for cardboard, and this is what you take out to pay for company getting stuff, so she gets reimbursed. That's only like once every 3 months, 2 or 3 months, she comes and gets the stuff right now, so whoever decides we wanna haul it, we know we track the haul it, and we'll be paying her, but we'll still be paying fuel.
Think we can even get it all for that though?
I don't know. I doubt it. That's where it is. So I do have a quote for water parts. Might be $2,784.79, that's just the replacing the parts we've been using lately.
Dan, say that again.
It's parts for what we've been using in the taps we got coming up, but it's $2,784.79 from Salina Supply.
And that's just parts you need,
Hmm?
that's just supplies
That's
you
the
need.
parts we need for
favor?
Okay, so on the normal Francis Street water leak, that's what this sewer thing is. We're looking at replacing the whole main. It's the top price that he gave us, it's $58,967. That's him doing pretty much everything except the concrete, putting the concrete back in.
The whole main onto the concrete?
He would he would dig, trench it, put the main in, put the valves in, so backfill, and then it would be, for Brock to come in and do the concrete, it would be about $9,500.
$9,500?
Probably a little more, give or take. I mean, I gave him a rough guess to the wall, trench and the road. But I think it's something we're gonna have to look at getting done, or we're just gonna keep going back and tearing it up.
Just under the concrete, going further back?
Well, if we get up to where the oil is on Second Street, and back to the oil on First Street, that's where the next main is, so we just replace that one piece of main through there. And I think his also included valves, separate valves for like halfway down the block, so we could shut off half the block if we had to or whatever, which hopefully wouldn't have that problem again. And we could bore it, and if we bore it, it would be just at least $25 a foot is what he told me, so looking at 10,000 to bore it. And then you still have concrete patches to go back and put in, even after we bore it, so. I'm kinda leaning more toward this one, in the end, I think we'll get the same money that Scott doing it all. One thing I'm not sure of is, I need to talk to the state and see, cause for Scott to put these valves in, we'd have to shut down the water in that area. So I think we gotta talk to the state about that, cause normally you have to let the state know anytime you're shutting off water. And if I have, I've gotta call in with a crew that does hot valves for that stuff, but they were like, it'd be $650 per tap, so it'd be at least 13 for just 2 valves. So, and I'm not saying we gotta make a decision right this moment, I'm just, I can get more numbers together on that. I guess if I get it early, we can call a special meeting and just approve it then, or. This is what Scott gave me, and this is, like I said, this is if we bore it, and he comes in and does everything but the boring. It'd be 42, so you'd have 10, so you're dang close to that number already.
But once you take it out, you take out the old pipe, you're gonna just leave the old pipe in there, right?
Right, Scott will take the old pipe out.
It's better to take the old stuff.
If we trench it, we'll be able to take it out.
Have it other hands.
Yeah.
If you trench it, you'll be able to take it out?
Right, cause we'll trench right where it is now, that way we can hook all the taps back up where they are. We originally thought about boring it under, closer to the yards, and then we're gonna put a hydrant in part way, cause we only have to trench, or bore half of it then. But I need a hydrant to blow off because it'd be a dead end line that way. But there's a person up there that told me she would absolutely not agree with the hydrant per yard, so. I'm just going back to original. And I am thinking about putting one hydrant in that's not priced in here while we're doing it. We could put it over in that little triangle section. And be one a little closer to, well, your neighborhoods and, cause right now we'd have to come around the corner from your neighborhood, I think. I don't think there's one down, in the,
How big of the hydrant would that be?
There's one on my property.
huh?
There's one on my.
There is one there, so. And that's closest one.
Be 4 inch
4
or
inch.
6?
Well, it could go 6, it's not from it. I know it'd be at least 4 inch. Cause what's in there now is a 2 inch, and I just priced the poly at 4 inch, cause it's only gonna be 3.5 inch, piece that diameter. But if Scott does it, he'll use the C900 that he has priced here.
Plus with all the patches we've done, it'd probably be up best to take it all out and pack it in there.
Yeah, well, I think we need to anyway, just to make sure we know. Cause almost every time we get in there, it's either cement set against the pipe or something like that that's vibrated and holes in the pipe. This time it was close to the last repair, we were lucky enough to loosen the cuff and slide it over and got it tight again, and it's holding. We also noticed if you want me to get all the numbers together first, we can do that, and then we can kind of figure out what we wanna do, or if we got the money to do it, or leave the street tore out for the ever. Put trap doors in, I don't know.
So we wanna get this done this fall or sooner?
Scott would start on as soon as we gave the okay, and he said he would have it to where people could use their driveway every night if he had to lay a plate across the bridge to let them drive across it.
I'd say the people will be happy to get this thing done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of having a torrent all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's the big thing, is we're kind of forced to do it anyway, I mean, get it done right.
well, they called them in and told her it's gonna be expensive, but it's just, we can't keep doing this, this is ridiculous.
Tying up for every concrete. That's what everybody's
Plus,
thinking.
what other damage the water's going towards?
Get it done. Another thing we have to get done is milking this thing too, you know?
I mean, I'll have the rest of the pricing, but should have all that next week for sure, hopefully by the end of this week.
We have budget,
So I was just gonna say, where this is a new water line for the whole section, I will check with the auditors, but I feel like that would be considered a capital improvement because it is an entire water line. It's not just patching and fixing. That's my thought,
it's not maintenance, it's
right?
improvement.
It-
It's
That's my thought.
Yeah.
But we will find out for sure,
Okay.
yes.
Everybody will give, they get final numbers and file with the general auditors and then we can approve once we
Yep.
get everything together. Okay.
I'm kinda gonna go off some, Lila, did you
Mhm.
go look at the trees down there for them wasps?
No, well, I'm not, I'm not a expert in
Right,
bugs,
but-
but I did look at them and majority of them were little, I call them hover bees. They're not, killer bees or not bees that are gonna attack you or sting you. There were some mud daubers, and there might have been a couple of yellow jackets, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure, but the majority were just little bees.
Where's this?
Down at Senior Center. They're complaining about their trees having wasps.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen them there a few times.
Do you
I
think
do
they're
too.
wasps or just bees?
I've had wasps around my door a few times,
Mm.
quite a bit.
Some of
I
them
guess the
are.
question would be, do we wanna see if someone can spray them, or?
That wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, we better turn on tree.
We can check and see,
Are they doing damage to the tree or is it just more of a nuisance to the?
Oh, when they pull up in the van, they get out of the van right there and sometimes wasps will, cause I've parked there before, to load my truck and stuff, and there'll be wasps, flying around in the trees and stuff, so I've seen them there. I don't know if they're still there. Last summer they were there. But I've got a few hanging around my door this year, so they're around.
So there's probably nests or something on the building.
They were in the tree last summer.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
We're just gonna knock the nest down.
what's that?
So maybe we need to knock the nest down?
I never seen it, I don't know if there's a nest in there, was there? Mike said they put traps up and looked at it,
Yeah, I
he said,
looked
all
this
that he
year.
seen was the little bee type
Hover
thing,
bees.
but-
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this area is. I'll go with tomorrow.
I'll look more too, cause I wonder if there like is, 'cause I didn't have time to itch this stuff and look at it. And then our, old Kawasaki mule that we're using for spraying, some reason we keep having problems with it. They put a new wheel bearing in it a week ago, it's going out again, they said. We have that 2017 down there, but we've taken it to 2 different Kawasaki dealers and have not yet got it fixed correctly. So, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to do this and say it without sounding really weird about it, but I need to go to Kawasaki in Salina, and I'll call them and see if they can work it in, if you guys are okay with that.
There's one in, Cook.
Yeah, we'll take it up there.
Lewis.
And it don't matter to me, but I need to go to Kawasaki in Salina, so
How old is the Kawasaki one?
one down, which one, the first one?
One in Manitoba.
Well, the one that's not running right's a 2017. The one they're using for spraying actually idles, but just can't keep the wheels on it. That's maybe 80-something. So. And I know when Jared went about the Gator, they only give him $3,000 for that, so that's why we kept it. But now it sits in the shop, not being used, cause it won't idle. If it would idle, they'd use it. But I don't know, I'll take it wherever you guys want. I'm going to Salina either way, so.
Might as well take it.
The reason I'm asking you guys, cause if I take it down there with city pick, I gotta pull something back with the city pickup, it's money.
Right.
Don't matter to me, I mean, at least get an estimate for one and see
Yeah.
what they think's gonna cost.
Yep.
I mean, it's a long way to go, but we're taking it North Platte, we're taking it to North Cook, but it did run a little while from North Platte and quit again, and went to Cook. They said they're big over there.
Worth a shot.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know for sure when. John has brought up retirement to me a little bit over the last week. I don't know where he stands on it, but just FYI, it might be covered. But we still have to get somebody certified in the wastewater, so we got the water covered now, just don't have wastewater covered.
When does that have to be done?
Getting someone certified?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
But isn't there a time lapse?
We can put someone in training for a year. So,
That's the new one?
you know, I mean, DJ and I both certified water. But all the wastewater classes they've had have always been right in the middle of something going on in town. Or a water leak happens and we don't need to go, something like that, so,
Get Francis Street first and then maybe
yeah.
one less problem.
That's all I have. Whatever you guys have for me.
Any questions for Dan?
Did we take all the stuff up to sale?
I haven't got there yet, though. We're still talking about it. I just need to go talk to her, see if she's gonna be.
Think about taking more stuff?
Well, if I take everything we got now, I'm pretty much clean up the lot for a while.
Motion to accept the superintendent report?
I got one more.
Okay.
On alleys and stuff like that, who if there's stuff that's been overgrown, do you guys take care of that, or to get stuff through there, or you have the homeowner too?
It's supposed to be the homeowner, but a lot of times we're doing it just 'cause, like trees and stuff, we'll go through and cut them, but it's supposed to be the homeowner. According to the ordinance, everything from the middle of the alley to the middle of the street is supposed to be the homeowner's.
I just seen, I've gone down the alleys too, I just seen a lot.
There is a lot this year for some reason.
So who does the strip down the alley, at the top, all tall weeds? Who takes care of that?
After that, like each owner maintains to the center, then it would be technically each.
It's hard to fight though, and I
Yeah.
don't know which way to go with it, 'cause it also says, like, for me to send them a mowing letter, it's supposed to be so much of the property, it's not. I mean, I could send a mowing letter for one weed this tall to name near everybody in town. Dang it, not everybody. I don't have a good answer for you, I guess.
Just curious.
So, that's kind of something that I guess we need to talk about sometime too, is the, ordinance on, cause like I know some people talked about the trees around Royce Knight's place, and I don't know, it doesn't really say in the ordinance, it might make him cut the tree just cause they can't see his house.
I think right now, you're not gonna see it, but once it grows up, then it's gonna be in the way of,
Now, if it blind corner, then, yeah, blind corner we can.
you know,
sent him letters.
We've
before.
cut it, all that up down the back's been cut out, and I don't know where it's at now, I haven't looked at it for a while.
I feel like we've sent him letters for
We did.
trees in the past.
We did for his trees and power lines.
Yeah. And I think
We
he-
got them cut out of there, and then somebody came in and cut the rest of them down. We cleared the line itself, just 'cause we didn't know anybody else to, a lot of trees here, no one cut in the power lines.
Any other questions for Dana?
So do we need to do like take pictures of those certain alleys and address them?
Oh, we can.
We've sent lead letters or property cleanup for issues on homes. Is there a motion to accept and file the superintendent report? Moved by Larry. Moved by Larry, moved by Gail, sorry. Did you second? Second.
Are we good?
Let's move it over there.
All in favor? Attorney report.
I had previously redlined the Idea Tech contract. They emailed me back with all of my changes incorporated, save for one. I've been going back and forth with them, and based on the situation they gave me, I don't really see as much of an issue. I've discussed it with Amanda. They said that they would attempt to notify us in the event of a new installation. Obviously, that's not that they will, that's that they will attempt to. And what they're deeming as a new installation is that if something were to happen and they were to need to dig back and put a new splicer there and put a new part in, they would consider that an installation as opposed to a whole big install or a facility or something like that. And so they're saying that that is what will cover it. They had brought up that for any actual new installations, they would go through the permitting process, and I just, for whatever the city requires for utility providers, but I didn't see, we don't have anything in our ordinance on the permitting process for that. So I didn't know if there was a permit. I didn't know how it worked when Eagle laid the fiber. Did they just talk to the, like, coordinate with the city? Do they, I mean, I guess I just don't know the process because it's not in the ordinance. And the only ordinances we have are for city-provided utilities. Obviously, this is not a city-provided utilities. This is not a city-provided utility. And so I'm just not sure. I mean, when Eagle came through and put fiber, did they just coordinate with the city about where they were gonna be when?
I think they just did it. I think they pay rent on the poles.
I was gonna bring that up, is this like, they're putting in whole new lines above or below Eagles, cause if so, they'll get a pole rental bill, just like Eagle does.
So say Eagle pays rent on the poles, so they just come in and did what they needed to do. And I think most of theirs is all overhead for the most part.
They have in here, the compensation to the city is that a one-time permit fee and license fee of $1,000 for each DAS facility installed within the public right-of-way, and such fee shall be paid not more than 30 days after the completion of installation of each DAS facility. They shall report to and pay to the city franchise compensation on a quarterly basis, which will be equal to 5% of gross receipts. And so that is the provision, that is the compensation provision. So I don't know the whole rent has ever been discussed with them. The compensation provisions for this type are provided in it has in here KSA, the sections are 12-2001F and 12-2001J2. Regarding the compensation provisions, it is outlined by statute, so I can discuss with them a pole rental if they're going to be using our poles.
Probably would, because, I mean, since I've worked here, we've charged, I mean, I don't remember what it was before, Eagle, maybe it's always been Eagle. I mean, now it's five, but, I mean, if they're gonna be hanging stuff on our pool.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will email that. What I'll do is I'll send a response email with you CC'd on it, so that way you can discuss that with them. I'll just, if you'll reply also, that way I'm in the conversation too, and we'll discuss that with them as far as use of our poles.
Are they actually going in town, or are they just going through the highway and?
They
don't really,
don't-
they haven't even told us, have they?
No.
He called, I don't know if he offered this to you, he offered his phone number to call him if we had questions.
He has spoken with me twice today so far. I've been emailing with him and their attorney and their VP for the last 3 hours. But he has, I was gonna say I have the phone number if you want to call him. I can write it down and then do the sticky. Or,
Well, this is the one he gave me when he called.
yep, that's what he.
And they're providing fiber services, is that
Yeah.
what they're doing? Maybe they're leasing fiber from Vive.
Maybe so.
I'd have to pick up fiber.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I'd think they're leasing.
I'm not worried about the. I guess I'm not really.
So, she has one that has one. Is Vive selling now?
I don't know.
So maybe this is the
Let's talk about
Vive.
that.
I've heard talk, but I don't know that, cause I deal type the one Vive and I don't.
Well, we could ask that question.
One more than James Bond.
This is John.
Hey, John, this is Amanda with the City of St. Francis. How are you?
Hey Amanda, I'm good. How you doing?
Good. We've got the council here and, the city superintendent Dan and the attorney Lauren, and we just had a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
The pole rent would be. That's not anything I know anything about.
Are you hanging new fiber on poles?
We can. If the city owns the poles and has a pole attachment agreement as part of the process, and you know the poles are in good shape and we meet NEC specs and all that, then yes, we could hang on the poles.
Gotcha.
Was that your initial plan?
We also could build underground, so that would be a construction conversation that we would have, obviously, before we did anything.
Is your intention to have all new fiber, or are you going off of someone else's fiber?
We are actually going to build Atwood. We're planning on building Bird City and St. Francis. I think we are going to be using an AT&T circuit initially, but the goal is to tie this into, you know, our larger Western Kansas network for fiber that we own.
What did you ask about the agreement?
So, my name's Jen, and I've worked here for almost 20 years, and like Eagle, which is now Vive, they're on our poles, and every year we send them a pole rental bill. So we were a little bit unclear what your company's plans were as far as if you were gonna go underground, if you're gonna utilize poles. And Lauren just talked about what you talked about, the initial using the poles, but, we would probably send you a rent bill every year if you're on our poles.
Yeah, we would expect that.
Okay.
Anywhere where we've built aerially on municipally owned poles, and
Okay.
every community is different. Some of them have, you know, hey, $3 per pole. Some of them have, you know, X amount per linear foot. But whatever that is, yes, we would expect that if we use the poles. And, you know, whatever
was the biggest question, if you were gonna do buried installation or planning on using the poles. We were just discussing the contract, so.
Yep. Yep, and then, Kevin Ingles is our construction manager, and he's met with Atwood about the build there. And, you know, once a franchise ordinance is agreed upon, he would come up and meet with the city and talk to you guys about all of this. You know, how do we want to do this? What's the best way for the city, you know, to have this kind of infrastructure built with, you know, the least amount of disruption and pole replacements if that becomes an issue, or hey, do we want to just do this underground? You know, those are conversations that he can have, and he'll have obviously the plans and the designs.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And by the way, guys, just as an aside, I hate the fact that I'm on the phone and not there, but you guys are as close to Colorado and Nebraska as I am to Oklahoma and Missouri, so.
Oh, wow.
I'm literally completely on the other corner of the state of Kansas, and it's a 6-hour and 40-minute drive to get there.
That's fine.
I will make my way up there.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's good.
All right,
That's
I
good
think
to know.
that answers our questions.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Yep,
Thank
thanks, have a
you.
good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So everything
All
was,
right, I'll take that.
This sounds to
What?
me like
The
it's
mic.
just competition.
Yeah, sounds like it. Thanks. Yeah, it sounds like it.
there's no issues with,
There's no issues with, I mean, especially with what the gentleman, one of their VP emailed me. So previously, the issue was, paragraph 3F states, give me 1 second here. Idea Tech will always attempt to provide reasonable notice to the city for any new installation and give city reasonable time to provide input on the placement / location of new facilities. I had spoken with Amanda about that because they will always attempt to provide reasonable notice is a very ambiguous term. What is an attempt? Is sending Dan a text at 3 a.m. a reasonable attempt? Is sending the city an email at 8 p.m. on a Friday an attempt? I just,
I'd say reasonable would be within business hours.
so, well, and that's, it's not defined.
You know.
So, they will always attempt to provide reasonable notice. They brought it up that they're concerned about that if there's an emergency repairs or issues that they need to work on right away, that they wouldn't be able to provide a notice. I talked with Amanda and she said 30 days. And he said, well, if it's a true new installation, then it would be a go through the permit process in paragraph 3E up above. And we don't have a permit process. That I know, I mean, we don't have one in the ordinances. I don't know if we have a policy or a process that's outside that Dan deals with, but as far as the resources that I have, I don't see a permit process. Because all utilities addressed are city-owned utilities in the ordinances. Their general counsel emailed and said that the section 3F is a good faith provision indicating that they will keep the city informed of new installations. However, this is already addressed in section 3E, which outlines the permitting process through which the city receives adequate notice of such installations. In that sense, section 3F appears to be a restatement of existing obligations, particularly with respect to emergencies and unforeseen changes. Introducing a 30-day notice period in section 3F could be problematic as it may lead to unnecessary delays in cases where prompt action is required. However, we are open to either striking section 3F entirely due to its redundancy with 3E, which I don't think that it's redundant because we don't have a policy in place, or alternatively revising the language to state that Idea Tech will provide reasonable notice allowing flexibility based on the specific circumstances. I emailed him back and stated that the city would like an example of an emergency or unforeseen change which would require a new installation and go outside the scope of their proposed paragraph 3E. And I asked him to provide the revised language of the paragraph with the reasonable notice provision that he had suggested. That's to the attorney. The attorney has not gotten back to me. The VP of Business Development responded to that email and stated that to fix a fiber cut in an emergency repair situation, it requires digging back the fiber in either direction from the cut and placing a network access point, vault, pedestal, handhole, etc., to install a fiber splice case at any new locations where the fiber is joined. It can be difficult to provide the full permit notice. And so what they're talking about as a new installation is just that splicing, whatever they put in there, whether it's a vault, pedestal, handhold, whatever it is. So they're not talking about installing a whole new service for not the notice. They're just talking about they're considering that as a new install because they're taking something that wasn't in their line and putting it in there. And so the way they're referencing it is a very narrow scope. I don't think that it's a huge issue. I'm more concerned with the fact that we don't have a permit process. That we don't have a process.
If Midwest Energy comes in here and there's a gas leak and they have to take out the whole alley,
Sorry?
is there not a permit process if Midwest came in and had a
That's what I'm saying, is there's no,
I mean, they've done that,
Yeah.
so what's the difference, I guess?
He said he was working with Atwood. Do you want me to reach out to them and ask them what their permitting process
Sure, why
is?
not? Said Bird City in,
Yeah.
Yes,
because we
Well-
don't have a,
Bird City.
I haven't
think-
looked into it.
I will check with
I would
Atwood.
guess it'd be
Yeah.
the same as AT&T at the back of the day, you know?
Yeah, same deal.
They'd have to,
AT&T loses the cable and they gotta dig and splice it. It's no different.
yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that there's, that's what I'm saying, is that I would imagine that there would need to be a permitting process,
Yeah.
especially if they're gonna be digging into the right of way. But I just don't
They probably do the
see,
same thing, they call,
Wasn't the fiber cut a couple years ago?
yeah, I mean, you
And
call,
That was an
Cable One?
emergency outage. They came out and fixed it.
Was that in city limits?
I think it was outside of city limits, wasn't it?
East
Or
of
was it
town.
inside?
Was it east of town?
Yeah, it was east of town. Yeah, it might have been outside. But either way,
There's
we wouldn't
also-
wanna hold up, like if it was on a Friday night, we would wanna hold up fixing the main fiber coming into St. Francis when the whole town runs on it.
yeah, businesses.
That's the other thing about it too.
right.
Yeah. But also, if there's a permit process for people accessing or utility right of ways, correct? I mean, that's what we don't have in place is.
I've not that I'm aware of, but I haven't looked into this either, so.
Right, that's what I'm,
Well, they call the dig, you know,
Yeah,
everybody do the locates,
yeah.
and then that's one process.
Well, maybe Atwood has something.
Yeah.
There's some other
I can
towns.
ask.
Yeah.
It's worth asking.
yeah, I mean, cause their paragraph states,
They probably run into it in larger cities.
I think they do all the time, but we just don't have, it. Their paragraph 3E states, if the city, and being that this is a smaller city, it does say if the city has a utility installation process or permit policy applicable to the installation of Ideatech's facilities, the city will approve or deny any application by Ideatech no later than 30 days from the submission of an application. So they are planning on giving at least 30 days notice for true
For new stuff.
new
Yeah.
installations. We just don't have one, which I guess is, I mean, it's not really, it's somewhat relevant to this, but going forward, we may want to have something in place, for this. Otherwise, I don't see any other issues with this other than addressing the pole rental. Compensation to the city, I would just suggest that we add, because it has in here, except for permit fees associated with the direct costs of the city permitted under the application for the permit. No other right-of-way occupancy fees shall be charged to Idea Tech. And I want to make sure that they're not going to try and classify a pole rental as an occupancy fee. So we'll need to put in there that we'll need to change paragraph 4C, which is that no other right-of-way occupancy fees will be charged. We will need to change that to paragraph 4D and insert in paragraph 4C that in the event that they are using the poles owned by the city of St. Francis, they will pay to the city of St. Francis the annual fee which is charged to any and all utility providers utilizing the poles of the city of St. Francis. And just that they pay what everybody else pays.
We must have that somewhere, the one that we have with,
With Live,
yeah, I'll just have to find
or
that one.
AT&T, they're all gonna be the same.
And I'm not going to put an amount in there because if it changes and we're in the amount, I'm just going to say that they're going to pay the rate that all
Yeah.
other utility companies. They're not getting a preferential rate. They're not getting an unpreferential rate. They're just getting what everybody gets. So I will put that in there and then shoot that back to them, and then hopefully we can have this. They can approve it and say, and we can sign it into ordinance and get it published for next meeting. Because I'm hesitant to have the council vote on it, because if it goes to a vote, we have to publish it, and then if they say, well, we want this changed, or well, we're not really, we don't, then we have to do an ordinance to repeal it, and then we have to redo it. And I just don't think that we need to be A, incurring that publication cost, or B, spending the time voting on it and repealing it and re-voting on it. So I will add that in and then shoot it back to them, just so that way.
Everybody okay with that?
I need 10 minutes of executive session for communication subject to attorney-client privilege, advice of counsel. And we can do it, I guess we can do it at the, do we want to do it at the end when we do the other executive session?
We're pretty much at the end. Oh, no, we got Riley.
I forgot to put treasurer report on.
Oh my gosh, I guess you can't go to report then.
Next month.
We're gonna roll you in with mine.
I have something
Where's
super
your-
important, guys.
Wait.
I can wait. I'm not, we're most of the way.
Mine's gonna be quick.
Okay, so let's, treasurer report.
So I got a request last week, a gentleman called, actually called over to the county, wondering if we had any police department patches. His father worked here as a police officer back in the 90s, so, Dan went up into the attic and got all of the old police uniforms down. And so, some of them, so I've verified with Cody, none of them are compatible with what they wear. So I just wanna make sure it would be okay. Some of them, we just need to get the patches off, and probably I don't even know about like taking them to the thrift store or anything. A lot of them are just regular clothes that patches have been sewn on. Some of them are pretty dirty, but there are some, oh gosh, they're not really carpenter pants. They're kind of those canvas pants.
Cargo pant.
Like a cargo pant, yes. And I just am wondering if we get all the patches off, if Dan could just take those down to the plant, if there's any that fit. They have literally been in storage up in that attic. And I mean, I hate for them to just go to waste, but it's also,
Worth a try.
well, that's what I thought. So what we'll do is we'll get all of the police department patches off, because every once in a while we
We
get a call
have-
like this.
People, and who else have we had that?
I can't remember, but I called, so his dad is retiring, so he asked about this, and so, Schaefer?
Jeff Schaefer?
Yeah.
Really?
So anyways, so his son was pretty excited. I don't know if it, I don't know when his dad is, it sounds like maybe his dad is gonna be retiring sometime in the near future. He said you never know, so he was really excited. So we'll get all the pertinent patches off and just store them somewhere, because if we get a call like this again, it is pretty cool to share these. But otherwise, I just one thing to get out of the attic and cleaned out. These uniforms are not gonna be utilized by anybody,
Yeah.
so. That'll be our little project in the next few weeks, is to
Take the patches off of it.
take patches off, maybe repurpose some, if those pants fit any of the guys, and they can, wear them out in the daily workforce. That'd probably just be better than sitting in a box upstairs.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of other stuff upstairs that needs to be cleaned out, but that's a project for
Another
probably
day.
another year.
Winter.
Yeah, winter time for sure.
I think that's all I had.
Here, motion to accept and file the treasury report.
So moved.
Moved by Dara,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Clerk report.
In your packets is the options memo. There's also some information about LKN dues. I just shared it with you so you could see. Basically, it's just explaining how they're going to, calculate our dues moving forward. I'm not highly concerned at all. I looked at the last 6 years, and the average increase year over year has been 4%, average across the board. That it looks like this. The fees for last year were for 2025 were 922.47. Next year it's going to be 955.68. Not a huge increase, but more of just an awareness thing for you guys. And I should probably wait for Kel to come back, so I will. But I will go on to this. If you guys want your red folders that I gave you guys for the what?
I was gonna grab mine, and I forgot it.
The budget.
Yeah.
Just bring them in, or drop them off, or bring them to the next meeting or whatever. If you want updated budget information in your red folders, maybe I can catch him. Back in hold on here a second. Back in March, the council had made a motion to offer Massa air transport to the council, the judge, and the city attorney. And so, but I don't know if you guys were ever given the applications to do so. So right now we're in the renewal time for AirMed Care, and you're also able to join that if you want to through the city. So if you're interested in either one of those, I've got the applications here and information if you're interested in them. The Massa is $14 a month, and it's a payroll deduction. And I've got a little bit of information about them, and they are nationwide. AirMed is now, you guys approved offering the Fly You Home option with that, and so that's part of the membership there if you want to do that. And the way that membership works, Larry, you know about this, is you just pay the city for your membership, and then the city pays AirMed for the entire group. So it's out of your pocket, but paid for by the city, if that makes sense. So let me know if you want those. I've got them right here, and you can pick them up tonight. And you missed all that.
That's okay.
Massa and AirMed Care.
Okay.
You know about those?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Pick one up, okay. And Lauren, you too, if you're interested in it. And that's really all I have.
Any questions for Lyra? I'll just do a motion to accept and file the clerk report.
So,
Moved by Kale, second by Dara, all in favor? Council comments, Kale?
I don't think so.
Larry?
No,
Dara? Justin?
Are we bringing up the old business on Civic Days?
Lawrence? No. I don't have anything, so we have 2 executive sessions. Who wants to go? Right?
They're both attorney-client privilege. One is
Oh, that's right.
prospective litigation, and the other is advice of counsel, so I don't know if you
10
wanna.
minutes is enough, and we can
Just do both.
do both of them, hopefully more time.
Okay, hold on a second. Attorney-client privilege.
Communication subject to attorney-client privilege, and it is one is for prospective pending litigation,
What? Okay,
and the other is for advice of counsel.
and we're just gonna do them together.
I heard a motion for 10 minutes to come back at 8:56. Moved by Larry,
Second.
second by Kale, all in
Okay, hold on.
10 minutes.
Hold on. Maybe a little longer. Oh, this step.
We're done, should be done. Sherry, we're,
Unless she wants to,
Should have a side button. But
we're basically done.
you just click the side button.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
put in your personal password. We're out of executive session, no decisions were made. Do we hear a motion to go into executive session for 5 minutes for attorney-client privilege
Pending litigation.
pending litigation, to resume at 9:03?
I move.
Moved by Kale, seconded by Justin, all in favor? We're out of executive session, no decisions were made. Back to shipping containers.
Well, if we don't change it, how long do we give them to?
6 months?
6 months?
How much?
6 months?
Giving them 20 years.
Pretty close.
I mean, I feel that's ample time to,
What were you saying about the post office?
what's that? February. What's the list?
Okay.
So does that go for all?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a letter for the county, and then held off to have a conversation with them, and I've had a conversation with Brett, and I've had a conversation with Leslie, and I've had a conversation with Sharissa, and I know, feel like they just need something presented to them in a meeting, so we can reissue the letter. and
You're talking
visit
the one up here?
The good thing, because that's the county one.
Okay, that one never got initially sent because of the
I told you to
discussion.
hold off, cause I was gonna have a personal conversation with them, and then we kind of were in limbo, so then I didn't go any further with that, but I have had initial contacts with 3 different people at the county, and so,
So are we writing to everybody again and giving them, what did you
6
say?
months. I said 6 months, I just threw that out, I figured that would give.
Remove or just cover it up?
Oh, if you have to go by the deal, it says permanent structure.
Yeah, if we
That
do what we
makes
did
sense.
with Enrique back in 21, basically,
Whatever that one's.
permanent, an actual
Mm.
enclose it,
4-1204.
so.
I love it when other people cite ordinances and statutes.
Is everybody okay with that?
So 6 months,
6 months?
I'll send it to you for review.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we addressing the offense too?
How many was sent out first? Letters, just one?
Just the one, like I said. The
We
county,
sent one,
oh, and the one over
Oh,
here,
okay.
nope, 2.
Okay.
So, do we give him 6 months as well, I guess?
Yep.
Just give everybody
Yeah,
6
just
months.
start.
Yep. Start everybody, and I would, yeah, send it to me because I'm going, I think what we need to say is we're giving you, we're required by ordinance to give you 20 days to move it. We're, as a courtesy, giving you 6 months. If it has not been moved in 6 months, then you will be cited as a violation of the ordinance. I mean, you're only required to give them 20 days, then they can come in and ask for more time, and that's up to the discretion of the council, but 6 months should be more than enough time, especially seeing as how this originally came up 3 months ago.
Didn't we give him a time when he was here?
So we look into it.
I have nothing further.
Do I hear a motion to accept and file the attorney report? I almost forgot that one.
So I move. I second.
Moved by Kale, second by Justin, all in favor? Motion to adjourn.
I move we
Yes.
Sir, I will second.
Why do you want to?
I'll second. All in favor?